Welcome back to 101 East. You're joining us in the jungles outside Cotabato City in the southwest of the Philippines, and we're here in a clearing with the chairman of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. He is Haji Al-Murad. Thank you very much indeed for sparing the time, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Veronica.
Apparently more than 100,000 people in Mindanao have died in the struggles over the last 3 decades. 2 million people have been displaced during that time. And now, in the last couple of months, there has been another outbreak of fighting despite 11 years of negotiations between your organization and the government of the Philippines. Can you explain why this fighting has broken out?
Well, this fighting now is actually unexpected. This happened when, after working out the agreement which will supposed to be address the aspiration of the Bangsamoro people for self-determination, was to be signed in Kuala Lumpur in August 5, 2008. After all, the signing was aborted because the Philippine government, through its Supreme Court, issued a restraining order in order not to pursue with the signing of this document. After the abortion of the signing, there were uproar all over the Philippines, and there were so many inflammatory statements over media, and then that motivated some commander of the MILF to initiate an attack in some areas, and then now the armed forces of the Philippines is conducting a reprisal operation against the Moro people. They are now conducting very wide-scale military operations against Muslim communities, targeting civilians, targeting anybody they could see in the area.
But the military and the government say all this could stop if the MILF were to hand over 3 specific commanders. Why has the MILF not done that yet?
The only rule binding between us as revolutionary organization and the Philippine government is the rule of the peace process. So it's not just dictating us to surrender our commander. We have to investigate what really happens. The investigation shall be impartial. We will pinpoint who are the perpetrators of this crime, because our commanders also are denying that they have done these criminal acts.
But the problem is that the government has now dissolved the peace panel. And this, the document that you mentioned, the Memorandum of Agreement on Ancestral Domain, the government says it will never sign under any circumstances. What's your view about this?
It is very frustrating, but as far as the MILF is concerned, we hold on to the fact that this MOA is a binding document. It has been initialed by both parties, by the panel, and it was witnessed by the facilitator.
So you will not renegotiate?
We will not renegotiate.
To what extent do you think the domestic political dynamic in Manila has played into the way that this region has collapsed back into conflict?
President Macapagal Arroyo is using the MOA to prolong her term. That is why they want to oppose this, because they are concerned about their ambition to become president, ambition to become senators. So the MOA become a victim, and they are not thinking of what is happening in the south of the Philippines.
But now the government has changed. They want to consult not with armed groups like yourselves, but with communities. Disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. That's what they want to concentrate on with the MILF.
Well, no revolutionary organization in the whole world will ever agree to have this disarmament, they call it DDR, before an agreement is reached.
Can you tell us now whether you will actually be ordering fighters to take up arms again?
It depends on the AFB now. Now they are not only fighting or conducting operations against the forces of Amiril Omrakato or Commander Bravo. They are conducting military operations against any MILF. So this will escalate the situation, and we are pushed to the wall. We have no way out.
Can you tell us what the effect of the opening of the second front in the so-called war on terrorism has been in this region?
We do not want to have another Iraq here in Southeast Asia. We do not want to have another Afghanistan. We have to build peace in the ground. And the international community is investing so much in all this peace building in the ground. But if the peace process now will fail, then all the investment will go back to zero, will be nothing.
Thank you very much indeed, Chairman Haji Al Murad.
Thank you very much.
Well, joining us now to speak in depth about the situation in Mindanao is the presidential advisor on the peace processes, retired General Hermogenes Esperon. We thank you very much indeed for sparing the time. General Esperon, the situation in the MILF-dominated areas of Mindanao is serious and is potentially graver still. But 8 weeks ago, it seemed that we were on the verge of actually reaching some kind of agreement after 11 years of negotiations.
That's correct.
What happened?
They say we were on the brink of peace, but now some say it's we are on the brink of war. But it's not really that. We are having some operations, which we would call law enforcement operations by the armed forces of the Philippines, following some incidents which were perpetrated by some commanders of the MILF when they attacked several towns in a province, resulting to the death of innocent, helpless civilians. And so we had to enforce the law.
But let's take a look at what apparently triggered the violence. There were complaints brought by local officials in that region to the Supreme Court of the Philippines. They were worried about what was contained in a memorandum of agreement on ancestral domain, worried that Philippine sovereignty was being sold out by the negotiations that you oversaw. Why didn't you realize that this might happen?
We have an agreement that was about to be signed, and there are constituents or some interested parties who went to the court to petition its for an injunction on the agreement itself.
Let me ask you though, if you stand by the memorandum of agreement that you negotiated, are the terms in it still the terms that could lead to actual peace?
We are not setting them aside totally. They could be our reference points, but for now, we will not be signing the memorandum of agreement.
But it's been preempted. Let me read you some of the comments that have been quoted in the local media. They say things like, the era of peace talks is over. Peace is lost. The government is undoing what has been achieved in 11 years of negotiations. Is this right?
It's not really government itself that has that should be put to blame for this. We have stood by the MILF. We have talked with them. We reached this point. In fact, we were about to sign it, but when there was an injunction from the Supreme Court, they reacted that way. Meaning, how could you now continue talking to a group when it would look like there's a gun pointed at you?
What do you see as the way forward from here?
We have dissolved the peace panel, but that is because we think that the peace panel has there's no more reason for its existence, since they had been talking about ancestral domain. But now we have shifted the paradigm. paradigm of the peace process by going to the communities themselves and not just talking to the armed groups.
Can you explain the paradigm?
Well, it will now involve authentic consultations and dialogues with the communities so that these communities will realize that armed struggle, the use of arms, is no way to realize goals and aspirations. On the other hand, if we have to talk to the armed group or the MILF, then we have to talk about DDR or disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration.
So all of that is over. In other words, the comment that I just quoted, that the peace process is lost, it's true.
Not really. We have not. We still have the security arrangements. We still have the rehabilitation and economic developments. We are waiting for a time, for a better time, when the circumstances would allow us to form another panel.
When you talk about a better time, do you mean a time when the Philippine government is stronger, as it were, when the political environment is not so overheated, shall we say?
In the short term, we are looking at the arrest and or neutralization of the three commanders who have attacked communities. Mm-hmm. That would be one. Second would be, we would like simmering down of the emotions. And then we would like to go into more dialogues so that and consultations with the people so that it will be better understood.
Thank you very much indeed, General Esperon.
Thank you so much.